The human prisoner. The cold metal floor of the prison cell bit into Aria's skin as she huddled in the corner, her breath forming small clouds in the frigid air. The dim blue glow of the force field cast airy shadows across her face, accentuating the dark circles under her eyes from days without sleep. She had lost track of time since her capture by the Galactic Council's forces, but the gnawing ache in her stomach told her it had been far too long. Aria's mind drifted back to the moment everything changed. She had been working in the hydroponics bay of the human colony ship Avalon, tending to the precious crops that sustained their small population. The ship had been their home for generations as they searched for a new world to call their own, having fled a dying Earth centuries ago. They had thought themselves alone in the vast emptiness of space. They were wrong. The attack came without warning. Massive ships appeared out of nowhere, dwarfing the Avalon with their imposing bulk. Before they could even think about mounting a defense, boarding parties of alien soldiers swarmed through the ship. Aria remembered the chaos, the screams of her fellow colonists as they were rounded up or cut down where they stood. She had tried to hide, to find some way to fight back, but in the end, a stun blast sent her world into darkness. When she awoke, she found herself here, in this tiny cell aboard what she could only assume was one of the alien vessels. Other humans were imprisoned nearby. She could hear their muffled sobs and angry shouts echoing through the walls. But no one came to explain why they had been taken or what fate awaited them. Until now. The low hum of the force field suddenly ceased, and Aria's head snapped up to see two towering figures enter her cell. Their bodies were covered in iridescent scales, and multiple eyes blinked at her from elongated faces. When one of them spoke, the words seemed to form directly in her mind rather than being heard with her ears. "Human, you'll come with us. The council awaits." Aria wanted to resist, to demand answers, but the alien's clawed hand clamped around her arm with surprising strength. She was hauled to her feet and marched out of the cell, her legs wobbly from disuse. As they moved through the winding corridors of the ship, Aria caught glimpses of other alien species, some vaguely humanoid, others defying description. All of them regarded her with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. Finally, they arrived at a massive set of doors that slid open with a soft hiss. Aria gasped as she was shoved into an enormous chamber, its domed ceiling so high she could barely make it out. Tiered seats ringed the room, filled with hundreds of alien beings of all shapes and sizes. At the center was a raised dais where several particularly regal-looking aliens sat, their attention now fixed squarely on her. One of them, a being with glowing tendrils flowing from its head like hair, leaned forward and spoke. Once again, the words formed in Aria's mind without passing through her ears. "Human, do you know why you have been brought before the Galactic Council?" Aria swallowed hard, forcing herself to meet the alien's gaze. "No, we've done nothing wrong. We were simply trying to find a new home." A ripple of what might have been laughter passed through the assembled aliens. The speaker's tendrils writhed in apparent amusement. "Nothing wrong. Your kind has been a blight upon this galaxy since you first crawled out of your primordial ooze. We have watched your history unfold, seen the violence and destruction you bring wherever you go. Did you think you could simply leave your ruined world behind and infect the stars with your presence?" Aria's fists clenched at her sides. "That's not fair. We've learned from our mistakes. We left Earth to start over, to do better. And yet," another council member chimed in, this one a being of living crystal, "your shit was armed with weapons capable of destroying entire worlds. Your databases contained information on how to subjugate and exploit alien life forms. Tell us, human, does that sound like a species interested in peaceful coexistence?" Aria's mind reeled. She had no idea the Avalon carried such things. Had their leaders been planning for conflict all along? No, there had to be some explanation. We didn't know," she stammered. "Please, there must be some misunderstanding. We can explain." The tendril-headed alien cut her off with a sharp gesture. "We have seen all we need to see. Humanity cannot be allowed to spread its corruption further. As an example to any others of your kind who might think to venture into our domain, you have been chosen to face justice." A murmur of anticipation ran through the assembled aliens. Arya felt a chill run down her spine as she asked, "What kind of justice?" The alien's many eyes bored into her. "There is a creature, a beast of legend, that we have long used to rid ourselves of the most dangerous threats to galactic peace. It is a being of pure instinct and savage fury, immune to reason or mercy. You, human, will be cast into its den. Your death will serve as a warning to all who would challenge the will of the Council." Arya's knees nearly buckled as the weight of the sentence crashed down upon her. "No, please," he begged. "I'm just one person. I haven't done anything to deserve this." But her pleas fell on deaf ears. The council member raised its arms, tendrils whipping through the air. "The decision is made. Take her to the holding cells. When the beast awakens from its slumber, she will face her fate." As the guards seized her arms once more, dragging her from the chamber, Arya's mind raced. She had to find a way out of this, not just for herself, but for all of humanity. Somehow, she had to prove that they were better than the council believed. But as the doors slammed shut behind her, cutting off the sounds of the alien celebration, a single thought echoed in her mind. How do you reason with a monster? The beast unleashed. The holding cell was a far cry from Arya's previous confinement. Gone were the sterile metal walls and humming force fields. Instead, she found herself in what appeared to be a natural cavern, its rough stone walls glistening with moisture. A faint phosphorescent glow emanated from patches of alien moss, casting eerie shadows that seemed to dance and shift with every movement. Arya paced the perimeter, her mind racing. How long did she have before they unleashed this legendary beast? What kind of creature could inspire such fear in a society advanced enough to span the galaxy? As her fingers traced the damp stone, searching for any weakness, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was already being watched. A low rumble, more felt than heard, sent vibrations through the floor. Arya froze, her heart pounding in her chest. The sound grew louder, accompanied by the scraping of something massive moving through stone tunnels. She pressed herself against the wall, eyes darting frantically for any sign of cover or escape. With a thunderous crash, a section of the far wall exploded inward. Debris rained down as a monstrous form emerged from the newly created opening. Arya's breath caught in her throat as she beheld the council's dreaded executioner. The beast was a nightmarish fusion of organic and mechanical parts. Its core resembled a massive feline, easily the size of an earth elephant, with rippling muscles visible beneath a coat of iridescent scales. But where there should have been fur, cybernetic implants and metallic plating covered large swaths of its body. Multiple limbs, some ending in razor-sharp claws and others in high-tech weaponry, extended from its torso. A cluster of eyes, both organic and artificial, swiveled to focus on Arya. As the dust settled, an oppressive silence fell over the cavern. Arya stood motionless, scarcely daring to breathe. The beast's gaze locked onto her, and she could see the cruel intelligence behind those eyes. This was no mindless animal, it was a carefully engineered killing machine. The creature's maw opened, revealing rows of serrated teeth and a glow that hinted at internal energy weapons. A sound emerged that defied description, part raw, part electronic shriek. Arya's instincts screamed at her to run, but there was nowhere to go. In that moment of paralyzing fear, a strange calm washed over her. If this was to be her end, she would face it with the dignity and courage that humanity was capable of. She straightened her spine and met the beast's gaze. "I don't know if you can understand me," she said, her voice surprisingly steady, "but I'm not your enemy. We don't have to do this." The beast tilted its head, almost quizzically. For a brief moment, Arya dared to hope that some spark of understanding had gotten through. Then, with blinding speed, it pounced. Arya dove to the side, feeling the rush of air as claws slashed through the space she had just occupied. She rolled to her feet, adrenaline surging through her veins. The beast whirled, its cybernetic limbs reconfiguring for another attack. "Wait," Arya shouted, backing away. "Think about this. You're not just some weapon to be pointed at a target. You have a choice." The creature hesitated, its eyes flickering between organic and mechanical. Arya pressed on, her words tumbling out in a desperate rush. "I can see the pain in your eyes. What do they do to you? How long have you been their prisoner, just like me?" A low growl rumbled from the beast's throat, but it made no move to attack. Encouraged, Arya took a cautious step forward, her hand outstretched. "We don't have to be enemies. We can help each other. Show them that we're more than what they think we are." The beast's muscles tensed, and Arya braced herself for another lunge. Instead, it let out a sound that was almost a whimper. The glow faded from its weaponized limbs, and its posture shifted from aggressive to uncertain. Hardly daring to breathe, Arya closed the distance between them. Her hand hovered inches from the creature's snout. Time seemed to stand still as they regarded each other, human and beast, both victims of the Council's cruelty. Then, with aching slowness, the beast pressed its head against Arya's palm. A jolt ran through her arm, and suddenly her mind was flooded with alien sensations and fragmented memories. She saw glimpses of a beautiful world torn apart by war, felt the agony of cybernetic implants being grafted onto living flesh, experienced years of isolation and induced rage. Tears streamed down Arya's face as the connection faded. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "They hurt you so much. But it's over now. You don't have to be their weapon anymore." The beast, no, she corrected herself, not a beast but a sentient being, lowered itself to the ground. Its eyes, now soft and expressive, looked at her with something akin to gratitude. A commotion from above broke the moment. Arya looked up to see the cavern's ceiling retracting, revealing a stadium filled with shocked alien spectators. The Galactic Council members leaned forward on their dais, their expressions a mix of disbelief and outrage. "Impossible." The lead council member's voice boomed in Arya's mind. "The beast cannot be tamed. This is some human trickery." Arya stood tall, her hand resting on her new ally's flank. "No tricks," she called out. "Just compassion and understanding, something your council seems to have forgotten." The stadium erupted into chaos as aliens argued and gesticulated wildly. Arya turned to the creature beside her, a plan already forming in her mind. "What do you say we get out of here and show them what happens when they underestimate us?" The being's eyes glowed with newfound purpose. With a powerful leap, it scooped Arya onto its back. Weapons unfolded from its cybernetic limbs, targeting the nearest exit. As they charged toward freedom, Arya felt a surge of hope. She had come face to face with the galaxy's deadliest weapon and emerged not just alive, but with a powerful ally. Now, it was time to show the Council that humanity was a force to be reckoned with, not through violence, but through the strength of their spirit and the power of connection. The hunt was on, but this time, Arya was no longer the prey. She was a beacon of humanity's potential, ready to change the fate of galaxies. Rebellion among the stars. The corridors of the Galactic Council's citadel were a blur of chaos as Arya and her newfound companion raced through them. Alarms blared, bathing the metallic walls in pulsing red light. The creature, which Arya had begun to think of as Nova due to the explosive power contained within its form, moved with astonishing grace despite its massive size. Its cybernetic limbs reconfigured on the fly, allowing it to bound over obstacles and smash through barriers with ease. Arya clung to Nova's back, her mind racing as fast as their headlong flight. The psychic link they had formed in the arena still hummed with residual energy, allowing her fleeting glimpses into Nova's thoughts. She sensed its exhilaration at freedom, tinged with a burning desire for revenge against its former masters. "We need to find a way off this station," Arya shouted over the din of klaxons and the thunder of Nova's footfalls. There has to be a hangar or docking base somewhere. Nova's response came not in words, but in a series of vivid mental images. Aria saw a cavernous space filled with sleek spacecraft, felt the pull of artificial gravity generators, smelled the acrid tang of fuel. With a start, she realized Nova was sharing its own memories of the Citadel's layout. "You know where to go," she breathed. "All right then, lead the way." They rounded a corner and came face to face with a squad of Council security forces. The aliens raised their weapons, but Nova was faster. A barrage of energy blasts erupted from its cybernetic armaments, sending the guards diving for cover. As they pushed through the chaos, Aria caught sight of her reflection in a polished wall panel. Her eyes widened at the sight of the fierce, determined woman staring back at her. Gone was the frightened prisoner. In her place stood a warrior ready to take on the galaxy. Their path to freedom was suddenly blocked by a shimmering energy barrier. Nova skidded to a halt, its claws leaving deep gouges in the floor. Aria's heart sank as she saw more guards approaching from behind, cutting off their retreat. "End of the line, human," one of the aliens snarled, its voice dripping with disdain. "Your little act of defiance ends here." Aria's mind raced, searching for a solution. Her gaze fell on a nearby control panel, its alien symbols pulsing with data streams. A crazy idea began to form. "Nova," she whispered, leaning close to her companion's ear. "I need you to cause a distraction, something big and loud. Can you do that?" The creature's eyes glowed with understanding. With a thunderous roar, Nova unleashed a dazzling display of firepower. Energy beams lanced out in all directions, forcing the guards to take cover. In the confusion, Aria slipped from Nova's back and darted to the control panel. Her fingers flew over the alien interface, guided by an intuition she couldn't explain. It was as if her connection with Nova had unlocked something in her mind, allowing her to interpret the complex data streams. With a final command, the energy barrier flickered and died. "Now," Aria shouted, leaping back onto Nova's back. They burst through the dissipating barrier, leaving the stunned guards in their wake. The hangar bay loomed before them, a treasure trove of advanced spacecraft. Aria's eyes were drawn to a sleek, predatory-looking ship near the center of the bay. Something about its design resonated with her on a deep level. "That one," she said, pointing. Nova needed no further encouragement. They were halfway to the ship when a booming voice filled the hangar, seeming to come from everywhere at once. "Enough of this farce." The air shimmered, and suddenly they were surrounded by the holographic forms of the Galactic Council members. Their faces were contorted with rage and disbelief. "You have made a mockery of our justice," the lead counselor snarled. "But your escape ends here. Even if you somehow manage to steal a ship, where will you go? The entire galaxy will hunt you down." Aria straightened on Nova's back, meeting the alien's gaze with steely determination. "You're right about one thing," she said. "This is just the beginning. But you're wrong if you think we're running away." She placed a hand on Nova's flank, feeling the thrum of power beneath its skin. "You wanted to make an example of humanity. Well, congratulations. You've succeeded, but not in the way you intended." Aria's voice rang out, clear and strong. "I'm going to show the galaxy what humans are truly capable of. Not conquest or destruction, but compassion and understanding. You tried to break us, but instead, you've given us a chance to prove ourselves." The council members bristled, but Aria could see the flicker of uncertainty in their eyes. She pressed on, her words carrying the weight of prophecy. "Mark my words, this is the day everything changes. Humanity will no longer hide in the shadows of the galaxy. We're stepping onto the cosmic stage, and we're bringing a message of unity and hope. Your reign of fear and prejudice is coming to an end." With a gesture of defiance, Aria severed the holographic connection. Nova bounded the last few meters to their chosen ship, its ramp lowering as if in welcome. As they settled into the cockpit, Aria felt a surge of exhilaration. The controls responded to her touch as if they had been designed for her hands. Nova curled up behind the pilot's seat, its eyes glowing with anticipation. "Ready to show them what we can do?" Arya asked, a fierce grin spreading across her face. Nova's answering roar shook the very bones of the ship. The hangar bay doors began to close, but they were too late. With a burst of alien energy, the ship rocketed into the star-studded expanse of space. Behind them, the Galactic Council's citadel receded into the distance, no longer a symbol of oppression, but the starting point of a revolution. Arya's hands danced over the controls, plotting a course into the unknown. Her heart raced with the thrill of possibility. She had entered this ordeal as a prisoner, facing certain death. Now, against all odds, she had emerged as a beacon of hope for humanity and a challenge to the established order of the galaxy. As stars streaked past the viewscreen, Arya allowed herself a moment of reflection. The journey ahead would be fraught with danger, but she was no longer alone. With Nova at her side and the fire of purpose in her heart, she was ready to face whatever the cosmos might throw at her. The human girl who had tamed the Council's beast was now free among the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same. The cosmic underground. The stolen ship, which Arya had christened the Starweaver, sliced through the inky void of space like a silver bullet. Its alien technology hummed with power, responding to her touch with an intuition that bordered on the supernatural. Nova lounged in the co-pilot's seat, its cybernetic implants interfacing seamlessly with the ship's systems. As they put distance between themselves and the Galactic Council's stronghold, Arya's mind raced with possibilities. They were free, but freedom came with its own set of challenges. Where could they go? Who could they trust in a galaxy that saw humanity as a threat? A soft chime from the communications array interrupted her musings. Nova growled, low and wary. "I know," Arya muttered, eyeing the flashing indicator. "But we can't run forever. Maybe it's time we made some allies." With a deep breath, she accepted the incoming transmission. The viewscreen flickered to life, revealing a face that made Arya's jaw drop. The being before her was unmistakably human, but unlike any human she had ever seen. Iridescent patterns swirled across the woman's dark skin, and her eyes glowed with an inner light that spoke of extensive biomodifications. "Well met, Star Speaker," the woman said, her voice rich with amusement. "I am Zara, and I represent those who walk between worlds. We've been waiting for someone like you." Arya blinked, caught off guard. "Star Speaker, I don't understand. How do you know who I am?" Zara's laugh was like wind chimes in a cosmic breeze. "Oh, little one, your escape from the Council's clutches is already legendary. The girl who tamed the beast and stole the stars. You're a living spark of rebellion, and the galaxy is taking notice." Nova rumbled, a mix of curiosity and suspicion coloring its thoughts. Arya placed a calming hand on its flank. "What do you want from us?" she asked, caution warring with hope in her voice. Zara's expression grew serious. "We want to help you fulfill the promise you made to the Council, to show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of. But more than that, we want to help you spark a revolution." The viewscreen expanded, revealing a bustling command center behind Zara. Aliens of various species worked alongside humans, all of them bearing similar biomodifications. "Welcome," Zara said with a sweeping gesture, "to the cosmic underground." Over the next few hours, Arya's world expanded beyond her wildest dreams. The cosmic underground, Zara explained, was a loose network of rebels, outcasts, and visionaries from across the galaxy. They had long opposed the Galactic Council's rigid control and xenophobic policies. "Humanity isn't the first species they've tried to suppress," Zara said, her voice tight with old anger. "But you might just be the ones to finally break their stranglehold on the galaxy." Arya learned of hidden colonies and secret stations scattered throughout the cosmos, places where humans and aliens lived and worked together in harmony, pushing the boundaries of science and culture. The biomodifications Zara and her compatriots sported were just the tip of the iceberg. that had been enhancing themselves with alien DNA and technology for generations. But we've been forced to hide in the shadows, Zara continued. Your act of defiance has given us an opportunity to step into the light, to show the galaxy that coexistence isn't just possible, it's the key to our collective evolution. As Zara spoke, Aria felt a fire igniting within her. This was more than just survival or escape. This was a chance to reshape the very fabric of galactic society. "What do you need me to do?" she asked, her voice filled with determination. Zara's smile was fierce and proud. "First, we need to amplify your message. The Council will try to suppress news of your escape, but we have ways of broadcasting the truth. Your story will inspire millions." Nova's thoughts brushed against Aria's mind, a swirl of images and emotions. The creature had suffered for so long under the Council's control. Now it yearned for justice, not just for itself, but for all those who had been oppressed. "We're not just going to talk," Aria said, her eyes gleaming with purpose. "We're going to act. Nova and I, we're living proof that the Council's fears are unfounded. That cooperation between species can lead to something beautiful and powerful." Zara nodded approvingly. "Exactly. But be warned, young Star Speaker. The path ahead is fraught with danger. The Council won't take this challenge lying down. They'll throw everything they have at us." Aria's hand found Nova's flank, drawing strength from the connection they shared. "Let them try," she said, her voice ringing with defiance. "We'll show them that the future belongs to those who are brave enough to reach for it." Over the next few weeks, Aria and Nova became the tip of the spear in the Cosmic Underground's campaign. They raided Council outposts, freeing prisoners and liberating advanced technology. Each mission was broadcast across pirated channels, showcasing the power of human ingenuity combined with alien strengths. Aria's abilities continued to grow. Her connection with Nova deepened, allowing them to communicate and coordinate with preternatural efficiency. More than that, she found she could form similar bonds with other alien species. It was as if her encounter with Nova had unlocked some dormant potential within her DNA. Word of the Star Speaker spread like wildfire through the galactic underworld. To some, she was a beacon of hope. To others, a dangerous radical upending the established order. But to all, she was a force that could no longer be ignored. As their movement gained momentum, Aria knew that a confrontation with the Council was inevitable. But this time, she wouldn't face them as a lone prisoner. She would return at the head of an army of visionaries ready to usher in a new age of cosmic harmony. The stars themselves seemed to burn brighter as the Starweaver cut through space, carrying Aria and Nova towards their destiny. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what this unlikely pair would do next. For in the depths of space, a revolution was brewing, and at its heart stood a human girl and the beast she had tamed, ready to rewrite the very laws of the cosmos. The nexus of worlds. The Starweaver emerged from hyperspace in a dazzling burst of light, its hull gleaming against the backdrop of a massive space station unlike anything Aria had ever seen. The structure defied conventional geometry, its twisting spires and interconnected rings forming patterns that seemed to shift and change as they approached. "Welcome to the Nexus," Zara's voice crackled over the comm. "The hidden heart of the cosmic underground and the staging ground for our final push against the Council." Aria guided the ship towards a docking bay, her heart racing with anticipation. Over the past months, the rebellion had grown from a spark to a raging inferno. Planets on the fringes of Council space had declared their independence. Oppressed species had risen up, inspired by the story of the human girl and her alien companion. But the Council's grip on the core worlds remained strong, and they knew that only a decisive strike could tip the balance. As they disembarked, Aria was struck by the sheer diversity of life forms bustling through the Nexus. Beings of every conceivable shape and size moved with purpose, their bodies enhanced with a dizzying array of cybernetics and biomodifications. Nova padded at her side, no longer drawing fearful stares but nods of respect. Zara met them at the entrance to a vast chamber that seemed to be the Nexus command center. The iridescent patterns on her skin pulsed with barely contained excitement. "It's time, Star Speaker," she said, leading them inside. "We've gathered representatives from every corner of the galaxy. They're here to witness the birth of a new cosmic order." The chamber was a marvel of alien architecture, its walls alive with holographic displays showing star charts, fleet movements, and data streams. At its center stood a raised platform surrounded by tiered seating, filled with a kaleidoscope of alien dignitaries. As Aria ascended the platform with Nova at her side, a hush fell over the assembled beings. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of countless eyes upon her. This was the moment that would define not just her fate, but the fate of entire civilizations. "Friends, allies, fellow seekers of a better future," she began, her voice carrying to every corner of the chamber. "We stand at a crossroads. For too long, the Galactic Council has ruled through fear and division. They would have us believe that difference breeds conflict, that isolation is the path to security." Aria's hand rested on Nova's flank, drawing strength from their connection. "But we are living proof that there is another way. Look around you. In this very room, we have beings from 1,000 worlds, each unique, each valuable. Our diversity is not a weakness, it is our greatest strength." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Aria pressed on, her words burning with conviction. "The Council fears what they cannot control. They fear the potential that lies within each of us to grow, to change, to become more than we ever dreamed possible. But we will not be constrained by their limitations." She gestured to Nova, whose cybernetic implants gleamed under the chamber's lights. This being was once a weapon of destruction, twisted by the Council's cruelty. Now it stands as a symbol of redemption and the power of connection. Imagine what we could achieve if we extended that same understanding to all species, if we combined our knowledge and abilities instead of hoarding them in fear. The chamber erupted in cheers, the sound of 100 alien languages blending into a symphony of hope. Aria raised her hands, calling for silence. But words alone are not enough. The Council will not relinquish their power without a fight. That is why I stand before you today, to call upon every free being in the galaxy to join us in one final push for liberation. With a thought, Aria activated the chamber's central hologram. A massive projection of the galaxy sprang to life, with the Council's stronghold pulsing at its center. "Our fleets are in position," she continued, her voice ringing with authority. "Our agents have infiltrated key systems. But our greatest weapon is not ships or soldiers, it is the truth that we are stronger together than we ever were apart." Nova's thoughts brushed against her mind, a swirl of determination and fierce loyalty. Aria smiled, drawing upon their shared strength. "I have seen the future that awaits us if we have the courage to grasp it. A future where the barriers between species fall away, where we explore the cosmos not as conquerors, but as curious children marveling at the wonders of creation. A future where every being is free to reach their full potential, unbound by the prejudices of the past." The energy in the room was palpable, an electric charge of hope and determination. Aria's next words came not just from her, but from the collective will of all those gathered. "Today, we cast off the chains of fear and ignorance. Today, we declare that the age of division is over. From this moment forward, we move as one, a united galaxy stepping boldly into a future limited only by our imagination." The chamber exploded into motion. Beings of all species embraced, pledged allegiance, and rushed to battle stations. Aria felt a swell of emotion threaten to overwhelm her. This was it, the culmination of everything they had fought for. As the Nexus hummed with activity, preparing for the final confrontation with the Council, Zora approached Aria with a look of pride and wonder. "You've done it, Star Speaker," she said softly. "You feel in the galaxy something it hasn't had in millennia, genuine hope." Aria nodded, her eyes gleaming with determination. "Hope is just the beginning. Now we have to make it a reality." she turned to Nova, their minds linking in perfect synchronization. Together, they would lead the charge against the Council's fortress, human and alien, flesh and machine, united in purpose. As they made their way to the Star Waver, Arya felt a sense of destiny settling over her. The frightened girl who had been thrown into an arena as a sacrifice was gone. In her place stood a leader, a visionary ready to reshape the very fabric of galactic society. The stars themselves seemed to burn brighter as the combined fleet of the cosmic underground prepared to jump to hyperspace. Arya took her place at the helm of the Star Waver, Nova by her side, ready to write the next chapter in the history of the cosmos. For in that moment, on the precipice of a new era, one thing was certain: the galaxy would never be the same again.